Oh, well, it would help me if I actually had everything set up like I'm supposed to, but obviously, it's not quite obvious now it is. There we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watchman is here with your latest update on the tropics. So today we got quite, well, we're not sure, so we have quite a bit to talk about. Well, we do have something to talk about in Best 92B. In the Bay of Bengal. It is a cluster thunderstorm with maximum sustained winds of about 15 knots. It's about 20 miles per hour right there. Now, regardless of tropical cyclone development of this system, this storm is expected to produce heavy rain and flooding for the east coast of India. As this continues to develop and move west-northwestward, it should make landfall here. I'll let y'all know when it makes landfall. We're going to look at the models and stuff. But really, the biggest threat from the system will be heavy rain and flooding. Maybe winds 40 to 50 mile per hour sustained winds are possible. By far the biggest threat is going to be flooding with this tropical system. So let's get into the models. Okay, so this is where it's currently at. And so again, it is headed for the southeast coast of India. Here, 1003, you know, it kind of shows it maybe turning around. Some of them, this is the average, okay? This black line indicates the average, okay? So if we go to the modeling and take a look at the models here of tropical tidbits here, you can see where that area low pressure is sitting right here at 1,006 millibars. So we're going to take a look. Now this is the latest models. I have actually take a look at the latest models. So again, they are expecting maybe as low as 1,003 millibars upon landfall here. And then moving directly there into India. And possibly producing, some more generally heavy rain into the coastlines. And then another system, but that is in now 384 hours out from where it's supposed to landfall there. Now, if we take a look at just generally the Indian Ocean, again, we are now moving into the later part of November. It's now November 16th, 2021, which means, we're starting to move in the later part of November, make our way into December, which means every day, every hour, every few hours, every few days, the chances of seeing some tropical systems developing in the southern Indian Ocean, those chances are going to increase. So we do have this system. Now again, these models, they do change. Obviously, we've seen that happen before. But even this system right here developing south of Singapore. I swear, this better be Singapore. I want to say this might be Malaysia. This might be Malaysia. Whatever. This system right here could also develop. Look at that. You can kind of see it makes its way south, but then dissipates relatively quickly. And then multiple other systems. And as these storms continue to progress, we'll have to watch the tropical development. And if these make them way far enough south, we'll have to watch interest in Mauritius and Reunion, Madagascar. I can never remember the name of this country right here. I know this is Ethiopia up here. Mozambique. There we go. Can't always remember the name of it. I do remember Alosi there in January of 2021, I think. Made landfall in that region. But again, we will have to watch carefully to see the development of these tropical systems here in the future. Might see something develop out here. If that does develop, we'll have to closely monitor it because it is certainly a possibility. I do want to take a look at the Australian region because, again, Australia, they have gotten hurricane or cyclones before, excuse me. When there are hurricane or cyclones there, we will look at the Australian Bureau of Meteorology and closely monitor any tropical cyclone impacts that they could receive, and we'll definitely be on top of that. But as you can see, the next 384 hours, there is quite literally nothing expected to affect the country of Australia in the next 14 days, about 2 weeks from now. Nothing. So really, there's not a lot to talk about. I am going to take a look at Zoom Earth and sort of talk about the satellite imagery that we are looking at here. So that system is situated right down here. So this is Singapore. So this right here, I want to say it's part of Singapore. This up here is Malaysia. This over here is Indonesia. I should freaking know that right now. So this is, again, the latest satellite imagery, satellite imagery that we will be looking at here with this tropical disturbance here. So again, I want to point out the fact that this is a very broad storm. So there isn't you can kind of clearly tell that the center circulation is roughly in this area. I would say right here. But it's very, very broad. It isn't closed. It isn't tight. It's very, very weak. The circulation is very, very weak circulation. It's only moving around 15 knots, about 20 miles per hour. So relatively, it is weak. I do believe it's being sheared. You can clearly see winds blowing in from this direction, blowing across the low-level center of circulation. So there is shear there. There isn't a lot going on, as you can tell. You can't really tell any rotation. You can assume there's some rotation in this general region right here. It isn't well developed. It's very weak. So, strong winds, 50 miles an hour is starting to, we're starting to not see that as much of a possibility. Maybe 35 to 40 knots, or excuse me, 30 to 35 knots, that's about 35 to 40 mile per hour winds. So, the chances of that are still pretty good. But I don't see 50 miles an hour. Just based on what we're looking at here, 40 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour is not a very big possibility. Simply because right now the satellite presentation is not supporting quick development. It doesn't have a lot of time. It is making its way farther into the Bay of Bengal. And pretty soon it's going to end up moving. Again, it's moving generally west-northwest. And so it's going to make its way into India. And heavy rain will definitely be a big threat and a big problem with this system. So that's what we're looking at, that system. Really not a lot else to talk about. Not a lot's going on worldwidely. because simply there's not a lot to talk about, but we will continue to give tropical updates on this system and any other tropical system that do develop here in the Bay of Bengal, anywhere. Because tropical systems can happen at any point in time. Right now, there are no systems in the North Atlantic. In fact, there's a little bit of a snowstorm happening in the Northeast. As you can see that right there, you can kind of see some snow here making it in New York. Wish I got some snow in New York, Philadelphia. So, DC. So again, there is snow way up north. There's some snow up there. I'm not getting any snow. Obviously, I live in South Texas, but not a whole lot here going on now. If we go to, it doesn't matter what we look at. We're not here to talk about winter weather, honestly. And then if we go to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, we'll do a refresh. If we look at the Western and South Pacific, quite literally there's nothing going on. And then if we take a look at the Indian Ocean, nothing going on at all whatsoever. So the system, with what it's looking like, it's probably going to end up dying out and eventually dissipating. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns? So I did want to say one thing, okay? So I was going to try to work with and try to get PowerPoint account, but it's about $69.99, roughly about $70 over a year. So we still have to. I'll still have to think about that, because then if I do get that, I'll most likely get myself a clicker, and I'll be able to click through the slides, and I'll be able to import websites and stuff. And then I'll be able to stand up here, click through the websites, and not have to continuously go to my laptop, go to the next website, go to the next website, go to the next website. It would just get a little bit annoying. And I could just click right on through and talk about every single system and go to the next slide, the next slide, the next slide, the next slide. So that's what I would be doing instead of sitting down at the computer. So it's a little bit more visually appealing for y'all to see me just sit up here, click, and talk about the next system or the next slide in case. And definitely if there's a major hurricane, cyclone, or typhoon occurring, I could talk about those through the website, through slides. It'd be much easier to stand up here, click through the slides, and talk about the impacts that they could see. But right now, we're just not, I don't have that right now, but hopefully, as we progress through time, I will be able to get that. So, that's it for now, guys. Truthfully, I don't have anything else to talk about. That's it. It's pretty much a quick, very simple. This is it, guys. Not a lot to talk about, guys. That's me for today, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you guys. I'll try to do a stream tomorrow morning. Can't guarantee anything. Talk to you guys tomorrow morning. With all that being said, have a wonderful rest of your evening, and peace out.